everyone. Welcome to the Gyan Pravah, the Flow of Knowledge podcast series, episode number 32. This initiative is a valuable resource for gaining knowledge, insights, and inspiration. An initiative by none other than our own President Fogsi, the very innovative Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, Madam. This is indeed a very important Foxy presidential initiative of the year 2025. ज्ञान का बढ़ता रोजाना एक नया अनोखा रंग हर रात 8 बजे जुड़िए आप फॉक्सी के संग. Myself, Dr. Supriya Jaiswal, Chairperson, Adolescent Health Committee of Foxy, is your host today, and we have as guest speaker Dr. Hema Diwakar, Madam, past President Foxy, with us. The topic of discussion will be mental health matters, so breaking the stigma for adolescents. Before we begin, let me introduce our own President Foxy, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, Madam, who is the backbone and a pillar of support for this Gyan Pravah series. It is her favorite. It is indeed an honor to introduce Madam, who is very compassionate and captivating. Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, Madam, who has a passion for advancing women's health and wellness and has demonstrated exceptional leadership, guiding the organization with her wisdom and a deep commitment to excellence. Madam is the dynamic President Foxy, an organization of more than 46,000 intellectuals, OBGYNs. Being a world-renowned IVF specialist, Madam is not only an exceptional doctor, but also a beacon of hope for those struggling for infertility. Madam is HOD OBGYN and Chief IVF and Endoscopy Center, Ruby Hall Clinic, Pune, also founder and medical director, Solo Clinic IVF at Pune, co-founder at ALIF, that is a stem cell research and application center, Pune. Credit goes to Madam for the extraordinary achievement of India's first stem cell baby and world's first at the age of 45, 16th of April 2018. Being the President-elect ISA 2024-26, Madam is also Founder-President Society of Ovarian Rejuvenation in 2023, has held many prestigious positions in the many organizations as IAG, POGS, ISG, and many
I
more.
love you, Supriya.
Author of
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear. This podcast is not about me. This podcast is about you and Dr. Hema Diwakar. Friends, Foxians, and those who are the viewers, you should know this podcast series, we all chairperson, they have curated this Gyan Pravah every night, 8 p.m. You may be driving, you may be in the OPD, just put up the Bluetooth and enjoy the conversation. Every committee chairperson of mine is working very hard towards this Pravaha. 30 chairpersons on 30 days. So if Dr. Supriya is coming on this date, she will be on this date every month. What is important is they get certain academician or sometimes philosopher, philanthropist, social background, anything, but a very important dialogue between the two. And I think with every podcast, believe me, we are today on 32nd, but with every podcast, I enjoy. I learn something. I learn from both the parties. I learn from my chairperson also, how well prepared they are, how intelligently, how creatively they take out the interview or they take out the best from the faculty. Today, with Supriya, we have Dr. Hema Diwakar. Hema Diwakar is known. I sometimes feel that we are lucky, Hema, that you belong to Foxy or you belong to India because you are amazingly intelligent, creative to the level, and whatever you come out with the brilliant idea, you ensure that you execute these ideas. I'm watching you from 2013, your Foxy presidency. I was your chairperson, but more and more I know, more and more brilliant ideas, how this came to you, I always wonder. 5 minutes discussion with you, I always gain a lot. Before I took over as a president, I made it a point to sit with at least 7 to 8 my favorite Foxy presidents who I think have put up the footprints on this organization. I sat and I discussed with them what are the important things they can think over. And Hema, I still remember our dialogue where we both came out from one of the Delhi meeting, and I pulled you out, Hema, 10 minutes for me. I will not forget those words in those 10 minutes, and I try to imbibe as much as I can. So keep on blessing the Foxians. This Gyan Pravah, because I definitely feel that these are the committee chairperson who are the future leaders of Foxy. And this podcast is giving them the confidence, it giving them the authority that the Foxy belongs to them and they can design 1 hour of their entire program. So in 11 months, 11 hours of creating for Foxy something which is valuable, which will be because of the social media, will remain eternal, is the most important thing. And Supriya, I enjoyed your last podcast also, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy today also. Hema, our protocol is like that, that after she introduces you, I will be leaving and you both will have a dialogue and I'll listen to you from delegate link.
Sure.
Another thing is there is only one link every day, so you don't have to search for the link. Just freeze your link and join every day, 8 p.m. Thank you, my all dear Foxians.
Thank you so much, Sunita. And I think your Pravah of body, mind, and soul integration is very, very innovative in itself. And as you have rightly said, all the time we are in awe of learning from each other. And thank you for the fond memories that have brought back our very sweet connections together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, dear madam. Thank you, Sunita madam, for giving us this huge platform. And we are your cabinet ministers, one of the member of that cabinet. So thank you for loving us so much and giving us so many opportunities. So now I would just introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Hema Diwakar madam. I'm really privileged to introduce you, madam. Dr. Hema Diwakar madam, who is a shining example of excellence, compassion, and leadership. We are deeply grateful to you, madam, for your tireless efforts to promote women's health and wellness. You have been the advising force behind numerous initiatives, the programs, and policies that have transformed the landscape of women's health across India. So, Madam is CEO and Chairman, Asian Research and Training Center and she is the skills transfer with FICCI Award for Excellence in Capacity Building. Madam is Division Director of FIGO, Well Women Healthcare at FIGO, President Karnataka, AHPI, State Representative of HSSC Karnataka, Chair Nutrition and Breast Feeding Committee, CEFOG. Madam is also the UNICEF Ambassador for Impact for Nutrition. Madam has been the ex-president of DIPSI, ex-dean Karnataka College of OBGYNs, past president of Foxy 2013, and advocate for delivering quality healthcare convener at Manyata. Madam has done huge work at Manyata, and we all people at Bihar, we had done that Manyata accreditation under your leadership, madam. So thank you for that. An opinion leader and an influencer for social and legal issues relating to women's health. Madam has been proud recipient of FIGO Women Achievers Award 2013-15 and Global Asian of the Year Award in 2018. CME Excellence Award for Artists, that was a huge project of yours, madam. CSR Impact Award for Diwakar Service Trust. And a very proud medical director of Diwakar Specialty Hospital, where she is senior consultant OBGYN, a very charming personality, as we all heard from our own president, Dr. Sunita Tandulwadkar, the association sheet about her with you. She explained to us, madam, you is a lovely personality. We would love to have you as a at this podcast, Gyan Pravah series. Thank you, madam. Welcome to this.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Sunita.
Thank you and enjoy the dialogue, and we will also be enjoying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
So the Pravah of your introduction was very overwhelming, Supriya. And
Thank you.
it's a break point of nervousness. It's all about mental stress, and I think we should accept these gracious compliments with ease and with equanimity. You never be too proud, never be too sad. Strike a balance, and that sets you into a phase of mental well-being. I guess that is what comes with age and maturity. But today I know that you have cornered me with the topic of adolescent mental health. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes, madam. This is my proud opportunity to having you for this topic of mental health on adolescents, because really adolescent, as an adolescent chairperson of this Foxy, madam, I have been doing for last 2 years lots and lots of activities regarding the mental health also.
Yes.
So just I would like you to enlighten us on some topics like what are some common mental health issues that adolescents face, and how can it be identified? How do you know that the adolescent coming to me is facing this issue, and how we can manage this, madam? You can also give us a live example if you have met somebody with that issue.
Sure, Supriya, that's a good start for our discussion because see, as doctors, dealing with adolescents, dealing with their physical problems is also a rarity, but now coming more and more into the mainstream. But dealing with mental disturbances and that kind of unsettlement, they're hardly brought to our clinics as such for any such problem because of the stigma, or they do not consider women's healthcare specialist as somebody who can deal with it. So that is our professional profile. But you would recognize that as a woman, as a mother, the first adolescent that you may deal with is your own child. So we have all gone through our reflections of our own life stories, and I think quite a bit it depends on the social environment, how the parents develop as a role model, how the teachers handle these delicate minds, and how they perform in their peer group. So the most commonest things that they would want, because adolescence is primarily, at least in our country and our families, education, 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 and best performance at school, best performance in the extracurricular, and the best in everything, and the label of perfection. If somebody who has 99.8% will worry why they did not have 100%. So the story of, in the neighborhood, mother with a sad face, because her son has always been a topper, but this time just 2 marks less. So the entire anxiety which was there before the exams and the depression which follows that, just can you imagine where this is all leading to? So the child also, that the adolescent, especially the outgoing 10th standard, 12th standard, it's a big deal in our country, because अरे अभी 12th में पहुंच गए, अरे boards का exams है, that kind of, even, Prime Minister Modi ji also, I think the charcha around the pariksha time, and there are many, many step-up counseling which happens that, okay, take it easy, this is not a make or break, and, you go. So some things around the performance in school, and especially at the exit exams, what next, always keeping on haunting them. And that fact that the child is undergoing that anxiety, especially when they're brilliantly performing, what goes on behind the scenes, what goes on in their mind, we need to have a sneak peek into that to actually recognize their trauma as such, because on the front they may come across as bold, courageous, extroverts, wanting to do everything. But within their heart, what if I do not come out as the best? That is the trauma and turmoil. So too much of importance given to such things will be one main reason for the anxiety and depression, which we as women's healthcare specialists will know only these two terms in common. There may be other medical, mental disorders which a psychologist, psychiatrist will be able to. Therefore, in every school, college now, they're having these counselors so that, they will be able to flag off. In fact, I feel the teachers also should learn to checklist. If they are finding something, not externally, but they can kind of figure out that this child needs an extra care, we have to be exceedingly sensitive, flag it to the parents who will always be in a state of denial. Nobody wants to think that their child is having any mental disorder. And then send across to the counselor. So other day, I had a very young adolescent, about 13, 14 years, and every menstrual cycle just have severe dysmenorrhea, and her mother is telling, oh, this is okay, we also had this, what's the big deal? So mother is anyway ignoring. Okay, she goes to the school and the counselor says, you're making up all this. She's crying, and they say, every time you want to bunk school, and then therefore you're making this drama. So that is how she is perceived. And then finally, when they bought on to that, some rare situations, we did a pelvic scan, we found out the reason for that. We had some things to offer besides the counseling. So there can be, allied medical problems also which can lead to this. But the child's distress, more than the pain, was nobody is believing her. Nobody is supporting her. And she thinks nobody cares because nobody understands. And are we just expected to digest this and put up with this doctor and all that? Crying in the clinic. She couldn't even come out with her history because that crying spell to settle down also took this much time, because at least maybe for 5-6 months, everybody told that she just wants to bunk school, so she's making up. So these things are, we have to have some faith in the adolescents for what they're saying and how we need to come to their rescue. So this is one whole, issue which comes about because Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, every child is now going to school anyways. So they will have a lot of issues there. And then we've heard so many stories broadcast on the television as a story because the news sells about what happens in the school, the way they're sexually abused, or the way they have some concerns and queries about their own bodies, and how they're so scared. The victim is so scared to tell anything to anybody. Who is that go-to person? Not doctors, because nobody will bring them to doctors straight away. Yes. And as doctors also, if you reflect, Supriya, we are so skeptical handling these cases. Arey kya lafda kuch karke aaye honge, now we have to report to police, arey the POXO case, this, that, 12 year. It's difficult, you see. It is not that we are also hoping to come to their support. So there is everybody wants to hide the facts, and, so what has happened in today's era, Supriya, is that the go-to person has become the digital platform.
Yes, you are very correct. Whenever they are anxious, they don't know where to go, they'll just open the mobile and they'll search whatever their queries.
Absolutely.
And lots of wrong information put up, and they might perceive something very wrong.
Yeah.
And that turns out very bad in their nobody, you're right in telling that parents, they try to ignore. Many a times they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And the adolescents, they feel very bad if you don't trust them.
Yes, absolutely. And also, Professor Mark Hansen, who was in our FIGO group, gave me a very beautiful book. It's called Mismatch. So I said, oh, what is this all about? Because he's basically a nutritionist who was in our GDM team. So he said, hey, just read it. You will understand what it's all about, So that book was something called the mismatch between the hormones in adolescence and the overwhelming information they have on the internet. Everything about pornography and about the sexual behaviors and some secrets of life, etc. 6-year-old, 8-year-old is, seeing those pictures and trying to read between the lines and getting all confused before the hormones are mature enough to trigger off the adolescent growth spurt and the processes. So the mind constantly battles, and therefore this is a huge era of mental illnesses or not being well and not being recognized for what it is for. So that is really a mismatch, and that's a reality because oh, my child is stressed. Oh, I am stressed. Stress is a side statement. Now everybody so below the carpet. Oh, then we say, oh, everything. Oh, why are her periods irregular? Oh, so much stress, doctor. Oh, why are this thing? Okay, some stress. Oh, office stress. So stress, stress, stress. That's all the time mentioned as a comorbidity.
Oh, yes.
To say.
So much for enlightening us on this important question, madam. Wonderfully answered. So I would like you to just throw some light on how does social stigma surrounding mental health affect adolescents, and what strategies can be developed to break down the barriers. Like people say कि mentally ill, they are scared to tell कि something mental problem is there, so they don't outreach to the doctors, to anybody. They're scared to tell my child is suffering. So how do we do this to get over this social stigma, madam?
See, because it is now the Deepika Padukones of the world, who have come out in the open and spoken.
Yes.
Little bit, we can say at least the tip of the iceberg. Partially, things have been at least talked about. See, if a normal natural process like menstruation has been a stigma and we are hiding, okay, then what to speak of mental health, which is not even seen, not even recognized. On the outside of it, everything looks well. So they also want to, either protect it the same way and not let the world know. And therefore, they're hesitant to, children also hesitant to speak to their parents because they know that they won't get any answers from there, or they'll be ignored, or they will be scolded at. And if they do speak, then the parents are hesitant where to take them out because there's no structured approach for this. Whom to trust, whom to take. And if they go to a psychiatric clinic, for example, oh, what if I meet my relative there? Or what if somebody sees me enter that clinic? Or what would they think? Or how would I reveal? Or for any other illness that the child has, they don't want to tell that they're taking medication. Or sometimes they overdo, and then, over medicalization is also one of the rules. And sometimes they just stigmatize and put the child locked into a room. No social functions a child because people will come to know what's wrong with it. See, there is so much around it. So it is the response and reciprocation from the parents also, because it requires a lot of guts, a lot of courage to deal with, because physical handicap, everybody sees, everybody sympathizes, everybody supports, it's known. But mental, nobody would like to, even share with the very near and dear ones, because even to this date, even though we are better than yesteryears, because 2 decades ago, no recognition, no treatment, and abandon. Now, at least awareness, recognition, and fragmented treatment.
And a little bit of acceptance.
And long-term care if it's needed, then God save them. Because temporarily, okay, something exam-related, some short-term agony, they can at least adjust. Today in my clinic, I'm seeing fairly a large number of girls who are adolescents, one group, but little bit beyond adolescence also, but who are on psychiatric medication for long term. And when they want to conceive, or when they want to undergo any kind of treatment and they have to reveal this, the stigma exists even there. They will not want to tell the doctors, especially when the in-laws are there, that they don't want to tell. And then we are also now getting more aware of which are those drugs they're using, what is the implication of that preconception, what change should be bought, how we have to network with the psychiatrist. This is all a new era problem, you see, Supriya. We never, some anxiety, some Restal, some this thing we used to manage. Then we did a large study on anxiety and depression in pregnancy, carrying on to postpartum. Okay, so those who are in the adolescence have the temperament and all the time on the edge are easy prey to this.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, the social stigma also and the social media also, both will fuel this. It makes the situation even worse than what it was before. So it is very, very challenging because now, as you said, the manyata also now we put a checklist for all the clinicians and paramedics to just ask 10 questions and figure out who are those 2 out of 10 who need further counseling. So nutrition and mental health right across the life course. In FIGO Well Women Healthcare, we have devised different age groups, different things to be looked into. But nutrition and mental well-being across all age groups. It's in the whole circle, everywhere. Adolescent, mental health. Reproductive, mental health. Infertility, mental health. Menopause, mental health. Everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere. It's like ubiquitous. Any age, nobody can escape, and more in this era, because another thing with adolescent is, see, we have at least escaped of the trolling, bullying, and trauma in the
Yes.
social media when we were adolescent,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
because that was non-existent. Now you see
Hmm.
everybody showing off, and the style, and then the whatever they do on the social media, it's so competitive, and that
Yes.
can be so stressful.
Yes.
The low self-esteem, and then they lose their self-confidence. अरे जो दिमाग ठीक है वो भी खराब है. Because they each one wants to outbeat the other, and anonymous way to openly bully somebody. Ragging, anti-ragging thing maybe in the college, but then on the social media, how much they're ragged, how much they're bullied, and all these, the likes and followers. Even the adults have the same problem, but adolescent, he got so many likes, I did not get. She's showing off with her boyfriend, but I don't have one. So all of these things also are adding to the picture.
Yes, yes, you're very right, madam. This is the everyday story for all of us. We come
Yeah.
across all this. And also, madam, the role of social media and technology play in shaping adolescence. Sometimes the mental health and can the parents and caregivers give some potential negative effects. Like social media, sometimes it helps also, madam,
Yes,
for
yes,
the
definitely.
mental health well-being. So, what
No,
do you share?
so social media, what I was exposing is the adolescent who are in that bracket, who because of social media also, because of social circumstances also, they're in that bracket where they need a go-to person. And I told you that parents, teachers, and doctors are not the best of the people, because many are judgmental. And how much ever we tried to establish adolescent-friendly clinics, how much ever we said youth-friendly, how much ever we said youth clubs, still with the word you mentioned, stigma is there. They would not like to come there and discuss anything with us. And depending on each one of our culture and background, we cannot relate to the new generation. So there is an issue there. So what happens in the social media? The like-minded and the experts and their own peer group, plenty of opportunity to go into the right sites for listening to the YouTube. And also there are some apps which like Felicity and all, where they can score their own mental status, and they will do the journal keeping, and it has some nice emojis. How did you feel today? Ping, ping, ping. Then they okay, today I was a little happy, today I was very sad. What is the general trend in this whole week? How have I been? What did I do to circumvent this? What caused my... So it's like a journal keeping, record, and auditing, which is also helping so many. This we learned from our patients only. They only show us. This I did, and then now I'm feeling a little better. Lot of self-help books and all. So that's in the podcast and in the audio into the digital space. So that's also good. And some celebrities coming and voicing out, and some dialogues like these, which many may say, we are not alone in this world, and some community support groups which come on the net. And so there is a lot that's happening, and some parents telling their true stories about how they bought their own child out of the
This,
depression status and got into mental well-being. So as you said, definitely there are positives, but it depends on their own luck to reach the right site.
yes,
They may
ma'am.
either go on a wrong track there and get into more trouble with wrong advice, or that's why we need to be more and more in that space. We need to have collaborations with the psychiatrists, counselors, and make it very, very interesting for them to see and make it very, very engaging for them, and also reassure them that it's okay to be not perfect. It's okay to be this. Because obesity and all, so much the body shaming and
Body.
yeah, other things are there. And once you label them PCOS, obese, and then everybody scolds them and hirsutism and all, oh God, the problems are, and it's like many girls are going to school and college. So they are more now in a social connect. It's not like they're getting married and hiding at home and all like that. So more the exposure, more the potential for a harmful kind of interaction and thinking, etc. And when somebody is very sad, you don't know their story. You don't know what's wrong with them. And then people will often mock or, make them feel even worse
Even
than.
worse.
So social media in an anonymous way, in a confidential way, and you those and such sites. And also for, there are some very, very special helplines and connect. So they feel very safe and secure there. I have found that as one of the best way to deal, because we don't know who they are. And they are quite comfortable telling to an anonymous person, and it's entirely confidential. And there are some excellent counselors available at the back end. At least if we can guide them to that, I think it will be a great help. And the use of the social platforms, digital platforms, community connects, and the technology, which will really help. So we got to be serious, paying attention to all this, figure out for ourselves. Then, it's a part of our prescription. Go to
Yes.
the site. Helpline you use. This because suicidal tendencies and all. The helplines have saved so many lives
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
because they have to know the number. It is adolescent helpline only. It's like 1208 or something. They have to just call that number. Somebody will speak to them. Somebody will, dilute their intense urge to kill themselves. So it is so very important. We are thinking about saving lives when they come to our clinic, but even beyond that, that's how the technology and this, digital space really handholds and pull them up, Supriya.
Yes, thank you so much, madam. You have explained so well all the aspects and different, there are many apps that
Yes,
these people, they monitor themselves. Many, they say, "Ki so many steps I have walked, I have lost some weight." They keep a track of
right.
many things through these apps.
Yeah, that's what I
That,
said. Na, the journal keeping, which we thought, "Arey, ye kaun karega?" But they're doing, and it's helping, which
yes,
is which is really marvelous. I think that's what I said, that it's they have figured it out for themselves to a large extent, and they come and show us, and then we have to learn from them, make a note of it, and if any other such situation we face, we have to tell them, see, this is the app, this is the helpline, this is the guidance. We have to take that bit of extra efforts, Supriya, because it's everybody's problem. And
yes,
anywhere, anything, sometimes, the reproductive age or menopausal age, women coming to us, so much they will say about their children or their grandchildren. And we don't pay much attention because she has come to us for treatment. And who
yes,
will listen to her family story? That's
yes,
general attitude, right?
yeah,
And we're so hard pressed for time also. Arey baba, kya hai aapka problem, aap batao. But actually, that her own problem also may have arisen from her mental status,
yes,
depending on how her adolescent child is doing. And
yes,
especially now, they never listen to their parents. So the parents are so upset. And also the openness about talking about sex or having, being sexually active when they're college going. It's shocking to some patients, the parents. So how do the parents deal with it? So we may need to tackle the adolescents through parental counseling also.
yes.
We have to approach in all 360-degree directions.
Really, madam, really. A multi-dimensional work.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mhm.
So, madam, yeah, I have also come across many adolescents who say, "Okay, madam, I've lost my sleep. I don't sleep whole night." She said, "I don't know. I'm having some health issues. I don't get sleep. And since last 6 months, I'm not sleeping at night,
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours at the daytime. So what is the problem? I want to consult some social media, some counseling." I said, "Don't do that. Tell your parents what is the problem. Open up with them." So I counsel them and also tell them that parents will not harm you. You have to believe your parents, you share with your parents. And I usually try to scare them with their boyfriends. I said, kid, don't go too much. Okay, make friends, but be safe in everything, especially the sexual part of it, madam.
Yes, it's like, giving, a message like, don't drink. If you drink, don't drive. Okay.
Yes.
But don't have, abstain. But if you do have safe sex.
Yes, yes.
ऐसे
Frankly,
भी
why
बोलना
did you
पड़ेगा
do?
ना.
बिल्कुल मैडम कि if you say why did you do this, they don't want to listen to you,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
most of the time they don't want to open up. If you are friendly with them, I have seen, I've tried these days during this adolescent counseling.
Yes.
What are some effects, coping mechanism, and stress management techniques that adolescents can use to maintain good mental health? Like, or also the schools. I wanted to ask you also this: how can the schools and educational institutions support adolescent mental health, and what resources can be provided? Even the government can support in the mental health issues, madam. So, what should be done? What is your opinion about this?
Actually, what is happening is, at least in the present era, many schools have at least recognized. That's the first step. Recognize that our children can have this problem.
Yes,
So, in-house counselor, or at least a connect with the counselor, how they convey the sensitive, messages to the parents, and how they also train the parents to cope with this. Everything is very, very comprehensively, and school is the start point. If school takes care uh, the core of it, okay, then from there. And also, but there is a problem that, in the school, they must not make it so open that this child is, getting the counseling, and then they'll be bullied by all other friends, and they'll say that ye to pagal hai. So that is a problem also. So, so to deal with it sensitively and compassionately are the two key words actually. You have to be in sync with what the child may be going through, and not always say that, are just, manage with this. Isme kya hai? Just, making their problem seem so trivial that push it under the carpet. As if we didn't cope. Oh, what? We used to walk to school. Now you're going in the car and the driver. So much luxury we are giving you. So parents also sometimes are double-edged. So, they are thinking they're doing so much with the material things for the child, and still the child is unhappy. Arey, isko kya padi hai? That is also another scenario. So in the school now, at least the recognition that some children may need this help, okay, and also providing that help in a proactive way, and also exposing them to certain things, guiding them onto certain specific counseling units or the sites which may just help them. Then mindfulness and meditation, yoga and physical activity, everything which adds to a holistic kind of because the happy hormones and the endorphins that are, released at those activities help a lot actually. And then all the time, with the cane asking them only to study is not going to, it's going to give more pressure. So to recognize that holistic approach and giving them opportunities to do more, and all children are not the same. All children cannot take the same environment with the same degree of resilience.
yes,
Each one is vulnerable in their own way. So we have to, and especially, sometimes some rural children come to the school. Okay, then when they cannot speak English and all, then finished. Another story begins. Such
yes,
simple, issues which can trigger off into a big, and the insults that they may have to face, and the other children laughing at them, or mocking at them, and teasing them, and what is right, what is wrong, how to cope with it. The child doesn't know. And so many times you found that, what will my parents say? How can I deal with this? And then so many times it just ends in the loss of their lives, which is,
yes,
which is such a dangerous end point to this whole thing. So, more than just thinking that each one of us are experts at counseling, we should also recognize that we can flag it off, but we have our limitations. How should be the approach to this particular age group? Because they're very fragile. Okay.
very true.
Sometimes they outsmart us.
Yes,
Okay. So, you're dumbfounded. You don't know what to answer.
Yes.
And you can't win over with them, or you can't bluff to them. So you have to say that okay, I will I'll get you to some better person to deal with this problem that you're having. So many the psychiatrists and the counselors have some quick fix methods, some cognitive behavioral therapy, and the mindfulness, and the yoga meditation sessions, and then journal keeping, and to actually write down in black and white and audit what is happening to them, and to see how they are improving. Because by and large, okay, I'm not sleeping well at all. I'm not sleeping. Maybe having 6.5 hours of sleep instead of 8 hours sleep. They should know that it's not too bad, but it can become better. And then plenty of things which are like magnesium, vitamin D combination, the MGT3 kind of drugs. Those are now increasingly being used for sleep disturbances. If we can give them something safe, something which is vitamin based, which can, sometimes it may have a placebo effect also, Supriya. We don't know. But at
Yes.
least it is safe.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the substance and the drug abuse is also a huge thing in
Yes.
adolescents. So if you, discover that and put them in care homes or something, then also just imagine the withdrawal symptoms and the mental impact that may. These are difficult situations for us as OBGYNs to deal, for sure. But we know that these things can happen. And so the alertness, the preventive care as we speak,
Yes.
be aware that such things can happen. Don't fall a trap into this, because all our Foxy champions doing so many programs in schools and colleges always tell every precautionary method, every little thing that is seeded in the child's head, so that they can cope with this better, the good touch, bad touch, simple things like that inclusive. So, the very fact that, okay, we are there for you, but we may not be able to do everything, but at least we can guide you in the right direction. I think that helps, Supriya.
Yeah. So, madam, very nicely you have explained the mental health issues of adolescents, how we can tackle that. Just a personal question, madam. What inspired you to take the subject of OBGYN to become a doctor from childhood? Once everybody has a dream, especially the girls. कि बड़े होके I'll become this, I'll take this line. So what was the source of your inspiration, madam?
I think, in the era that we were born, if the families belong to the class where education is of prime importance, means you cannot, speak about the family without the strength in the educational background. Having come from such a family, then the same three idiots wala kahani, that, boys engineering, girls doctors, the same situation is, it's real what they have portrayed in the picture. So when they said, grandpa was a doctor, uncles and aunts were doctors, so many doctors in the family. So it was by default, taken for granted that both me and my sister are OBGYNs, by the way. So we said, ye to medical mein hi jayegi. But then by merit, it's so tough to get that, we know. Okay, and then parents never gave that kind of a pressure, आपको इतना करना ही है, and then you have to go. They kept the choices so open that we were totally relaxed to say, ये नहीं तो वो नहीं तो वो. I was going to take like interior design, home science, something like that if I was not going to go into medicine. Okay, so anything. But my parents' principle was, whatever you take, you have to excel in that.
Yes.
That was the main thing. And when you get into the thick of it, you'll start loving it. But nobody may ask you questions about why this or why that, but you have to answer to yourself, have you done your best? Even that same thing I was telling my son also. Even if you become a hairdresser, you have to do your best. Right? That is the thing. Excellence, pursuit of excellence was what was the value system that was grilled into our heads. And then what happens if you see, it may be a dream, but reality also strikes. Sometimes you may not get everything that you dream for, but what you get, that you must make it the best. So if that is the core of not being stressed,
Yes.
we are talking everything about the mental stress. एक के पीछे लग गए और नहीं हुआ. Then from 20th floor you fall in disappointment. If you're still sitting in a second for A, B, TK, but for whatever we are trying, we'll try our best. But the universe has to support, God's grace has to be there, and you may succeed in what you do. But if you don't, then God has better plans for you. So you get in there, but once you get in there, you better do your best.
So nice. Thank you so much. And Madam,
Mm.
Dr. Hema Diwakar, President Fogsi, you were in 2013. We were very much impressed. And I've seen throughout, you are a great orator. We have heard your speeches many a times, Madam. Whenever I say, oh, Dr. Hema Diwakar's speech, okay, we'll log in and hear. So you have so much captivated the Foxians. People have listened to you and remembered you for your talks and so many things. And then you stay so fresh, so smiling, so vibrant. What is the Raj? What is the point? What is the reason behind this, madam? And tell me, because you are the wonderful.
I think because I'm asked this question too many times, I said, oh, what is it? Then I begin thinking for myself. Then with so many times being quizzed about the same question, how you are. One is that I only do the things which I love to do. I don't like cooking. I don't enter the kitchen. That it's like that. I make my choices very, very clear. But I will source somebody to cook for us. But so if you reluctantly get onto something, that in itself is, damaging your system a little bit. You don't like to do, but still you're forcing to do. That is one thing. The second thing is thoughts, talk, and walk should be in synchrony. If you're thinking of something, but saying something else like a lip service, okay? And doing the third thing, which is not even aligned to what you have talked, that is going to kill you. Okay. There is an option that you're thinking that this is not good, but you have the option of keeping your mouth shut. Okay. Don't go and tell the bitter truth to somebody unknown and make them feel hurt. But don't superfluously praise them because you know that that's not good. To pranay better. That is the choice you have to make. Then when you have to walk the talk, you have to keep to your commitment, you have to keep to the focus that mujhe karna hi karna hai. We have to make this happen. And we may have many failures on the way. We may have many times, very, very difficult challenges. But the journey, what you learn from each of those experiences, next project, it makes you so much better. So anyway, it's a plus. Okay. And, people finally see only your successes. And if 10 things have succeeded, 100 things have failed also. Na? We have sustained those failures and we have come there.
Yes.
And the last thing is, I am very, very proud of my champions in Foxy. I'm very, very proud of anybody who achieves the success because that doubles up my joy. The whole thing to create many leaders, to see somebody like Supriya as a chair of adolescent committee makes me feel so happy and proud. So if you leave the jealousy factor and you're very proud of what your associates have stepped up because of it, that also saves a lot of energies. In fact, it energizes you even more. So it's not all about meditation or sleep or rest or, the Horlicks that I drink every day or, something to do with fitness, yoga, exercise pattern, strict disciplinarian diet. No, it is none of those. That is why all the points that I told you, Supriya, are aligned with the mental well-being. And that is the energy. Nothing clashes. So that is finally, this is my own conclusion about my own. Sometimes I wonder, oh, nothing is happening to me. It's like, because why are people asking me so many times, how you are like this? So, that's the thing. So, and also, there's, like all these philosophical people say that you love and your energy abounds. So there is, you may not like some people, but you don't particularly hate them, and you're just, you refrain from being too much in touch with them, and it's not your indifference. Of course, if they're in crisis, you will definitely go and help them. But generally, you like or love everybody and you wish well for everybody. I think that's the I feel that really energizes, if that could be called the secret. But that's how some of us are made. So I think, and also not so much craving for, the positions or the posts. I had told long back, leadership is not in position but in action, and people matter to me more than the positions. If you give me the choices between P and P, people and position, I would pick the people. Because the champions are my asset, not the Foxy post or anything. So that is how I. So that's, I think, somewhere
Brilliant.
all of these adds into your energy level. So it's a prayer call. Somehow I have to make it. It's for the person. It's not that I have to show off in a podcast. No, I have to speak to Supriya. That's it.
So sweet of you, madam. This is the reason, this is why you are Dr. Hema Diwakar, the personality whom everybody loves. And we are inspired. You have you have mentored so many of us. So, madam, love you for coming. Thank you very much for this wonderful podcast. And one last message to the adolescents from your side. Just a general message of brief.
To address the adolescence, first of all, is a huge challenge.
Yes.
The simple message is be yourself. Don't try to impress anybody.
Yes, madam.
Be the best form of yourself. You're very special. You're very unique. You're meant to do what you're meant to do. So do it well. That's the message.
Thank you very much. Wonderful message, madam. I wish people hearing this podcast will be benefited by your all discussions. And I'm very, very proud to say today I had as a guest speaker Dr. Hema Diwakar, the best of all, to talk on this subject. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, Supriya, and all the very best to you as well. I hope in Foxy, you'll grow from adolescent level to the greatest heights in few years to come, and all my best wishes and blessings to you. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you.